You do not hate the media enough. You don't hate the agenda enough. You don't hate the two-sided garbage of this freaking industry enough. It is a absolute dumpster fire, and we're tearing it all down. The media is making believe that all the riots in LA are just peaceful protests. The media is saying that a certain crime where a gay man was murdered, they're calling it a gigantic homophobic hate crime to start cracking down on that shit. And Hasan Piker, as well as his fucking leftist orbit of retards, are saying that every time a Jew gets attacked, it has nothing to do with anti-Semitism. It's just because it's a political protest against Israel. Oh, they lit a Jew on fire? It has nothing to do with anti-Semitism. Today we are looking at how you don't hate the media enough. This might be one of the most important videos of all time, and we are doing it today because fuck, I hate these people, and we're burning this shit to the ground. All right, so on the left, this is the news, the mainstream media. Liars and fucking push-up bras. And on the right, you have the actual situation on the ground in Los Angeles. And then we're gonna get into the fucking gay hate crime hoax and the anti-Semitic bullshit and the Hasan Piker fuck franchise. You are not ready for the level of insanity that I cooked for you today. So lock in, boys and girls, and subscribe for future chaos.
The LA County Police say that they have it under control. Carrying a flag is not illegal, as you know. What did happen in 1992 was so different from what we're seeing now.
I mean, true. There's no fire. There's no violence.
That was a real riot.
There's no throwing rocks at cars. That was a real riot. Not like this. This is like a fake gay riot.
Video after video has shown that these agents are the ones provoking protesters and also making up.
Really, bro? You're gonna try to false flag this shit, you absolute hoax?
Aggression by these protesters.
Look at all the aggression that the police are causing this guy to throw rocks at cars.
Later video shows people were not aggressive.
Yeah, they're calling Waymos automatic cars and lighting them on fire. How the shit are you gonna blame the cops for this?
We are having an administration that's targeting peaceful protests, people that...
Really? Peaceful protests? You mean like the guy in the fucking jihad cosplay lighting shit on fire? That guy?
are there to protest. The president is sending the National Guard because he doesn't like the scenes. He doesn't like the scenes of people peacefully protesting.
Yeah, and people don't like the scenes of people peacefully breaking into houses and lighting shit on fire. Nothing like some peaceful firebombing. A little bit of peaceful aggravated assault.
Unrest is isolated. LA is home to millions of people, most of whom are having a normal day here on Sunday.
Yeah, no one on this fucking highway.
You know, you've heard reports that there are riots on the streets of Los Angeles. That is not what's happening across the city of Los Angeles.
Governor Newsom's right.
It's a good thing that the media is here to tell us that the thing that we're seeing with our own fucking eyes is not happening.
There wasn't anything like a riot happening on Friday, Saturday.
There's no riots. This is not a riot. This is just a bunch of people getting around and peacefully lighting shit on fire.
Witnessed a protester thanking a National Guardsman for his service here in California.
LAPD, by most estimates, had this under control last night.
What are you fucking talking about?
No, I don't think the National Guard is needed now.
No,
things in LA are calm. There was a protest that got a little unruly late at night.
Late at night?
No.
Look how under control all this shit is.
I don't swear anybody that was protesting hit anybody, shot anybody, threatened anybody. Nothing happened.
Nothing happened. Nothing happened, guys. We're telling you it happened. Do not trust your eyes. Nothing happened. It was a little unruly.
It's just a bunch of people having fun watching cars burn.
Most of those.
It's just people having fun watching cars burn. They probably lit themselves on fire. Probably.
Demonstrations were very peaceful. They were chanting, they were shouting. People were driving by, honking their horns.
Overwhelmingly peaceful. Overwhelmingly peaceful, violent protesters. Let's fucking go. Yeah, so I thought that I needed to show you this side by side first because I think this goes to show that you don't hate the media enough. This shit got 18.8 million views on Twitter. You have to realize, if we didn't have something like Twitter, social media, decentralized, not controlled by the government, we would be fucked. No one would know what's actually happening. You'd see the garbage media come out and say there's some isolated incidents of a few unruly people, nothing is violent, Trump is doing a massive overreach, and people would believe them. People would believe them. Elon Musk buying Twitter changed the course of history, all right? Say what you like. I don't give a shit. It happened. So I wanted to look at a specific situation that went on the media about a week ago that went absolutely hog wild insane. This is Jonathan Joss, the voice actor of John Redcorn in King of the Hill, and he sadly passed away at the age of 59 after being shot in a homophobic attack. His husband has written the statement below. We will be looking at that in a little bit. This is obviously very sad. Dude died in a homophobic attack. Or did he? After a little bit of digging that was done, it turns out, no, actually, this doesn't really seem like a homophobic attack whatsoever. It seems like they're using the death of this guy to push a narrative. And don't worry, we're going to be diving down that rabbit hole in just a little bit. Now, I need to introduce you to another character, because you see, the manipulating of facts happens very, very much on every possible wavelength. This is Hasan Diddy Bin Laden Adolf Vlad the Impaler Piker. He is the largest leftist political streamer in the world, and twisting narratives around is literally his favorite thing. So I needed to show you this little clip to introduce him to you before we actually dive too deep into this rabbit hole.
There should never be an instance where they deploy troops to Los Angeles unless there is like a literal invasion, okay? Which, you know,
all right.
In which case...
So if there was an invasion, he would support it then, right, guys? Right? So if there was like a literal invasion, Hasan would support it? You're right? Right, guys? Right, guys? Right? If there was an invasion, he would support it, right?
It would be really sad because I would probably link up arms with our Chinese overlords.
Wrong! If there was an invasion, he admits on a stream that he would join forces with the invaders. This dude is like an actual enemy to America, bro. I never saw anyone talking about this clip, so I had to show it to you guys. Bro, it is crazy that this shit is happening, bro.
To bring about the Chinese century of prosperity.
Yeah, because he's a communist fuck. So anyway, he was just kidding. No, he wasn't. That's my opinion. Pay no attention to him threatening to kill United States Senator Rick Scott.
There's about $50 billion estimated that are lost every year in Medicaid, just in fraud alone. No.
If you cared about Medicare fraud or Medicaid fraud, you would kill Rick Scott. Okay?
Yeah.
You wouldn't...
Mostly peaceful Hamas, Diddy Bin Laden, Adolf Epstein Piker. He might have had sex with children in brothels, by the way. But we don't need to talk about that right now. Not trying to get controversial. So, speaking of twisting narratives, this is a story that happened a couple of weeks ago. All right? A couple of weeks ago, this man over here, this absolute degenerate fuck, was in Washington, D.C., and he murdered 2 people in a Jewish museum. They happened to be Jews. Wow! No one would have seen this coming. It's the biggest shock of all time. Ethnically Jewish, religiously Christian, and he executed them because they were Jews. All right, let's be real. That's what happened. He just murdered them. One of them crawled away after getting shot, barely surviving, and he shot her again in the back of the head to kill her. All right, this is a terrorist. He is currently in prison. May he rot forever. This is Hamas Diddy Bin Laden Adolf Epstein Piker, and this is what he had to say about the situation.
But like I'm not Mr. False Flag at all, but like every single thing that he did in the aftermath of the shooting is so fucking crazy that it's like you could not have fucking designed a incident like this. You could not have designed a better false flag incident like this. I'm not saying it is.
So first, he is saying that it's very possible, not saying it is, but it's very possible it's a false flag. Because this dude yelled Free Palestine after he executed 2 people. All right? So first, he's saying it's probably not anti-Semitism. This guy might have been activated as some secret Jewish psyop to murder Jews. All right? That's his first argument. All right. Get ready for the second argument.
It is a false flag incident at all. I'm not saying that. I think this is just a one dude who is genuine in his actions.
He's just a dude that's genuine in his actions, okay?
And maybe, you know, a little bit brain broken, okay?
All right, so this is a dude that's a little bit brain broken, but genuine in his actions, all right? So that's what he's saying about this fucking terrorist fuck. With all due respect, it is insanity that he was able to get away with this without like any form of punishment for actually saying shit like this. He all but endorses this terrorist attack, and he twists his words in every possible way to say that no, this guy is actually he's not anti-Semitic. It's not that he hates Jews. No, he was just genuine with his actions, or it might be a false flag. I don't know. He later was banned for one day for reading this guy's manifesto uncritically on stream, essentially endorsing this terrorist attack in the United States of America. And this is how he explains himself in his return video.
I got banned specifically because I covered the motives of the Israeli embassy staff shooter.
He did a whole stream to discuss the motives of the guy that executed 2 Jews. All right? Now, let's be real. This is a guy that yelled Free Palestine and executed 2 Jews in a Jewish museum, okay? Like a Holocaust museum or something, all right? He did an entire stream to figure out the motive. Come on, bro. What are we fucking talking about here, all right? Let's be real. You got racists against black people. You got racists against white people. You got racists against Jews. Like, why are we fucking talking about it? This is a dude who yelled Free Palestine, okay? He went to a fucking Jewish museum. He murdered 2 Jews. Well, what do you mean? He did an entire stream to figure out the motive. Fucking detective on the ground journalist Hamas Piker over here figuring out the motive. And don't worry, guys, because he actually came to a conclusion that it has nothing to do with Jews.
Which apparently, according to Twitch terms of service, dictates a suspension, even if I critically examine the manifesto.
Which he didn't.
Which is precisely what I did.
Which he didn't. I covered this in the past, so we don't need to tread ground, but that's not the point.
The reason why I read this is specifically so that
this is him reading the manifesto.
You understand that, like, there is a shit ton of people that are like, no, this is the shooter's actions were directly about finding some Jewish victim to kill.
This is him defending the killer and saying that the killer did not do it just because he wanted to find a Jewish victim to kill. No. It's because he was genuine with his actions. It's because it was a political message. He's like Luigi Mangione. He's just like that guy who Hasan also supports.
Okay? It's deliberate.
It's deliberate.
Clear what his reasoning is.
It's clear what his reasoning is. It has nothing to do with killing Jews. He said basically the same thing about the Egyptian guy in Boulder, Colorado that lit a couple of Jews on fire. Because that's literally the narrative, and it's all about pushing the narrative. So I really wanted to make a video to dedicate not only the retardation of Hasan, Diddy, Bin Laden, Adolf Epstein, Piker. He might have had sex with children, and he has promoted multiple terrorist organizations. He should probably be in jail, not gonna lie. He has partook in the riots. I'll even show you a fucking clip. I'll even pull up a fucking clip. Even Asmongold fucking cooked this fraud on this shit.
So Hasan says I should be the one getting in trouble.
By the way, to understand how far right we have gotten, back in the day when Sex Pestany said white supremacists need to fucking mow down these like Black Lives Matter protesters, he got fucking banned. He got de-verified. Asmongold can now be the largest content creator on the fucking platform.
Thank you.
And be like, yeah, they deserve it. To be fair, he's talking about the cops in this circumstance. We understand them as white supremacist force.
Right. The white supremacist force. That is how he describes cops. Okay, I am telling you, the manipulation by media pundits and retards, especially on the left, not exclusively on the left, but especially on the left, is fucking abhorrent. It is absolutely evil. All right, you get people lighting shit on fire. It's a mostly peaceful protest, guys. Breaking into stores, looting shit, vandalizing cars, attacking police officers. It's just mostly peaceful. It's just people fighting for their rights, using their freedom of speech. It's just freedom of speech. Nothing like the freedom of speech of lighting cars on fire. Am I right, guys? But don't worry, guys. That's nothing. None of that happened. A gay person dies, everyone starts screaming. Homophobic hate crime. We got a Pride Month too. Hell, Pride Summer. Forget Pride Month. We need 4 Pride Months. 4 Pride Months per year. That's what we gotta do. Every second month should be a Pride Month now. Like, dude, I'm telling you, it's all for the narrative. It's all for the agenda. These fucking loser bitches.
Right. It's the police officers that are the white supremacists. Definitely.
He will get no punishments for this, as a matter of fact.
That's his analysis. That's his analysis. Do you know why he justifies the violent riots in LA? Well, all the police officers are white supremacists, so obviously the Mexican people are gonna rebel or some shit.
I'll probably get fucking banned before he does.
Yeah, big surprise. It's a little bit different. Maybe it's hard for Hasan to understand.
Look!
So
Look! He's doing a resistance. He's doing a resistance. Look at him, guys. Fucking soy jack emote looking motherfucker.
Hasan, it's bad when police officers defend themselves from the use of deadly force against them, such as throwing bricks at them. But it's okay when the Houthis take hostages and then hold them for the better part of a year.
Remember, he supports the Islamic fundamentalist extremist fucking terrorist organizations that kidnap random people. All right, dude, the Houthis are starving their own people. They kidnapped random Filipino sailors for a year. Dude, they have sex slaves. Like, actual sex slaves. Like 14-year-old children as sex slaves. That's what the Houthis are doing. And Hasan supports them. He's the fucking bad guy. And he's gonna twist narratives all he wants. But white colonial imperialism.
That's how it works. And I will reiterate my take. I think that anybody who engages in escalation that could be deadly, like trying to throw Molotov cocktails, trying to throw bricks, if something could kill a police officer, I think a police officer...
Self-defense, fire back.
...has every right to respond with deadly force.
Yes, sir.
And the reason why is because I think every citizen has the
right
to respond with
he's
deadly
right.
force. And I don't think police officers should uniquely be punching bags.
The psychopath is certainly the people that are protesting.
Yeah. The psychopath is the person who's...
The person lighting shit on fire and throwing bricks at police officers, yes. Yes.
Throwing bricks at police officers. True. And that's the problem that these people have. It's the total inversion of empathy and morality.
Man was right. What the fuck? Anyway, not the point. The point that I'm trying to make here is I wanted to talk about a brand new hoax. A new hoax that has shaken the entire internet until everyone literally forgot about this hoax. All right. I am going to introduce you to the Jonathan Joss hoax. Now, don't get me wrong. It's tragic that this man's dead because every time someone dies, it is a tragedy. However, it was not a homophobic attack. And the media is twisting it. Look, this has 15 million views, basically saying it's a homophobic attack. Everyone is basically using this to justify, like, an unreal amounts of Pride Months, infinite Pride Month jutsu. Every day is Pride Month now. And it's all for an agenda, and it's all fucking bullshit. So Matt Walsh made a video apparently breaking this shit apart. So lock in, boys and girls. Today we are looking at the absolute double standard hypocrisy bullshit of people manipulating everything they can. All right, Hasan did an entire stream to figure out if the guy that said free Palestine when he executed 2 Jews actually might have been anti-Semitic. All right, Hasan did an entire video for that, entire stream. But this dude died. The entire world screamed homophobia. We need more gay rights. And no one actually looked into the situation whatsoever. Lock in, boys and girls. This is going to be a bumpy ride. And yeah, I'm definitely getting canceled for this one because I'm going against the narrative. So to support your boy, feel free to hit the join button and subscribe. Also, leave a comment. Say something wholesome in the comment section.
Every single one of these hate crime hoaxes going back 30 years has been a fraud. This is just the latest example of a trend that we've all seen for decades. In pretty much every case.
Oh God, the narrative is falling apart.
Case when pathological liars feel trapped, when they realize they've lost all their credibility and their power, they don't suddenly decide to become honest people. Instead, they simply continue lying. I mean, think of Elizabeth Holmes after the collapse of Theranos, one of the most obvious clear-cut cases of fraud imaginable. From prison,
all right.
Holmes has refused to take any responsibility, even though she orchestrated the entire fraud. She still claims she's a victim. There are about a million other examples, from Jussie Smollett to Bernie Madoff.
Bro, the Jussie Smollett shit's insane. Like, dude, for those of you that don't remember how insane that actual shit was, Jussie Smollett was a D-list actor, a black fellow, who basically paid 2 people to beat him up and put a noose around his neck so he could talk about how it was a hate crime. And he made the rounds on every fucking media talk show in the country, talking about how insane the radical amounts of racism there is. He was gay too. I don't know if that's relevant, but yes, he was gay too. He was a gay retard, not just a retard. And for real, they ended up finding actual footage that the people, the quote-unquote white supremacists that beat the shit out of him were 2 black people that he paid to do it. It was a giant hoax. Just like Hasan Piker, who tried to convince the world that he was detained in the airport when he wasn't. They asked him questions for 5 minutes in the airport and he made this whole hoax. Oh my God, Islamophobia!
The only way forward in the liar's mind is to come up with even bigger lies. And that's all they really know how to do. The more desperate they become, the more trapped they feel, the more obvious their frauds become as a result.
All right, let's go. I'm ready.
At the moment, Dude,
I'm excited to see this shit get broken apart. I hate the fake narrative so much. And I hate that people just buy that shit. Do you want to know something crazy? 5 years ago, everyone thought that the right wing in America was the party of violence. Everyone thought that. Maybe 10 years ago. Everyone thought the right wing was the party of violence, right? Like, the neo-Nazis are like the far-right guys, right, dudes? Right? Everyone thought this because that's the fake reality that the media pushed on you. The left has always been the party of violence. It's always been the party of fucking terrorist support. Every single time. You get fucking jihadists that support Hamas, and they just decide, you know what? We'll rip off the Palestine flag, we'll throw up the Mexican flag, and we'll light LA on fire. It's crazy that this shit's been happening.
Particularly depressing and financially insolvent Pride Month continues to trudge along. There is no greater illustration of this phenomenon than the so-called LGBT movement. These activists understand that they've been discredited.
Activists!
All of their narratives about alleged hate crimes from Matthew Shepard onward have collapsed under the slightest scrutiny. All of their claims about not having equal rights and just wanting to live their own lives without bothering anybody.
Yeah, none of that shit's real. None of that shit. Dude, it's so fucking crazy how the LGBT community literally fucking suicided over the last couple of years. Like, 4 years ago, if you would misgender somebody, you would get your life destroyed. Your life would actually get destroyed. You'd lose your job. You'd get canceled everywhere. You'd get banned on every platform. Holy balls. It's crazy to think that that was a part of reality. You know, we are going to be telling our children about this, and they're not going to believe us. They're not going to believe it was ever a big deal. They won't, because it sounds so retarded. But it was. It was a big deal. And we need to remember how big of a deal it was so history doesn't repeat itself, bro. Dude, they were cutting the testicles off children. This is a huge deal. Listen, we just want to live our lifestyle. We don't want to actually, intrude on anybody else's lifestyle. Anyway, let me teach your child how they can remove their own testicles when they're 14.
Have fallen apart as well. And that's why Pride Month ultimately is dying. And in response, rather than engage in any introspection, LGBT activists have predictably decided to push yet another lie. And this one, even by their standards, is truly staggering, not just because it's so grotesque and evil, but also because there are precisely 0 sane people that would possibly be convinced by it. I'm talking about the decision by LGBT activists to push a bizarre and obviously false narrative about the recent death of a 59-year-old actor named Jonathan Joss.
All right, let's fucking dive into this rabbit hole. I love me a good conspiracy theory, I'm not gonna lie. I like a good conspiracy theory. I want history to repeat itself. God destroyed the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah for all the gay and wicked stuff. All right, dude, listen, bro. Listen, I'm not trying to get all biblical on any of you guys. All right, that was a chat. I just read a chat message. Have you seen California? California was on fire a couple months ago. And right now, California's on fire again. Listen, bro, if this isn't some biblical shit, I don't know. I'm not getting involved. Not getting involved. I'm just moving on.
Who was well known for voicing the role of John Redcorn in the King of the Hill show. He also appeared on Parks and Recreation. And according to activists, as well as several other media outlets, Joss was just a few days ago executed in front of his home by a homophobic bigot who had been tormenting him for a very long time.
So that is the story as everyone heard it. Like, I'm going to read you the actual statement by the husband, okay? Statement from Tristan Kern de Gonzalez, husband of Jonathan Joss. My husband, Jonathan Joss, and I were involved in a shooting while checking the mail at the site of our former home. That home was burned down after over 2 years of threats from people in the area who repeatedly told us they would set it on fire. We reported these threats to law enforcement multiple times. Nothing was done because of all the homophobia. Throughout that time, we were harassed regularly by individuals who made it clear that they did not accept our relationship. Much of the harassment was openly homophobic. They called him gay. I know I'm not trying to make fun. It's obviously a tragedy that a guy died, but I absolutely fucking hate the standing on the corpses of people to push agendas. It's despicable. When we returned to the site to check our mail, we discovered the skull of one of our dogs, holy fuck, and its harness placed in clear view. This caused both of us severe emotional distress. We began yelling and crying in response to the pain of what we saw. While we were doing this, a man approached us. He started yelling violent, homophobic slurs at us. He then raised a gun from his lap and fired. Jonathan and I had no weapons. We were not threatening anyone. We were grieving. We were standing side by side when the man fired. Jonathan pushed me out of the way. He saved my life. Jonathan is my husband. He gave me more love in our time together than most people will ever get. We were newlyweds. We picked up Valentine's Day. What the fuck? We picked Valentine's. All right. We were in the process of looking for a trailer and planning our future. He was murdered by someone who could not stand the sight of two men loving each other. And then he said, "This is MAGA country, gay boy," and killed him. Yeah, so anyway, that's how the story was published. That's how everyone believed it. I didn't even do research because, I'll be honest, it fucking blindsided me. I heard this story. I believed it. I did. You see a fucking story like this? I was a retard for even beginning to believe it. For even beginning to believe it, I was a retard. For real, for real. All right, bro, tear this fucking shit apart. Enough of this bullshit. We're gonna look at the police report now, and not the eyewitness testimony of a fucking biased person pushing their agenda.
In various ways, all leading up to his eventual execution in this homophobic hate crime. And as proof of these extraordinary claims, the activists point to the following statement, which was posted on Facebook by somebody identifying as Jonathan Joss's husband. And here's the relevant part of it. And as you listen to this, Imagine you're a detective arriving at the scene of this homicide.
True.
Trying to figure out who's telling the truth.
Okay, valid.
And then imagine that this is what an alleged witness tells you.
Okay.
So I'm going to read it now. Quote, my husband, Jonathan Joss, and I were involved in a shooting while checking the mail at the site of our former home.
Right.
The home was burned down after over 2 years of threats from people in the area who repeatedly told us that
it was burned down after threats. All right.
It would set it on fire.
All right.
We reported these threats to law enforcement multiple times and nothing was done. Throughout that time, we were harassed regularly by individuals who made it clear that they did not accept our relationship. Much of the harassment was openly homophobic.
Uh-oh.
When we returned to the site to check our mail, we discovered the skull of one of our dogs, harness placed in clear view.
Bro, that's
this
crazy.
Caused both of us severe emotional distress.
Emotional damage.
We began yelling in
damage.
response to the pain of what we saw. While we were doing this, a man approached us. He started yelling violent homophobic slurs at us.
He probably also said it's MAGA country, if I had to guess. He was like, it's MAGA country.
He then raised a gun from his lap and fired. Jonathan and I had no weapons. We were not threatening anyone. We were grieving. We were standing by side. When the man fired, Jonathan pushed me out of the way. He saved my life. Jonathan is my husband. He was murdered by someone who could not stand the sight of two men loving each other.
Probably.
Close quote. That's the story.
That's the story.
Now, having read that out loud, even if you know nothing about this case at all, you can immediately see the problem. And it's a pretty big one.
Yeah.
None of it makes any sense.
Yeah, true. But again, no one's reading that fucking blurb. People are just going to see this and read the headline. Look at the way this is posted. Jonathan Joss, the voice of John Redcorn, King of the Hill, was sadly passed away at the age of 59 after being shot in a homophobic attack. Like, that is the way the story is told. Not allegedly, not suspected, not according to the husband. Look at this. Look at this headline. This has 15.9 million views on this one tweet alone. All right? This is unreal. Insanity, bro. And everyone just ran with this story because, hey, dudes, hey, guys, let's run with this story because it helps push the agenda. Don't worry, guys. Did a dude execute 2 Jewish people in a Jewish museum? We got to figure out the fucking motivation for that one. That's not clear cut. Now we don't know. We have no idea why he would have possibly killed those 2 people. All right, I don't know. I don't know about that one. But this absolutely is it immediately. All right. Anyway, I feel like am I hitting a little too hard? Am I a little too based today? I'm sorry. I just hate the agenda pushing fucking cockroaches.
It's incoherent. It's the kind of thing they would write if they've lost their mind.
True.
If you live in reality, you know that gay men living in San Antonio are not going to be stalked for years by roving gangs of homophobes.
Completely true. Even the let's say the incredibly religious Christian man that says that gay marriage is a sin, all right? That person that believes gay marriage is a sin also believes that murder is a sin, all right? And would not kill the guy. So, like, to be real, the homophobes are usually probably gonna be the people that are least likely to actually murder random people. I don't know, that's just my my incredible analysis. But again, not the point. According to their story, the homophobes, they were wandering the streets. They were wandering the streets. The army of homophobes. They were seeing gay people. Holy fuck, they were harassing them for years until it finally happened.
Who taunt them with the skulls of their dead pets and then light their home on fire and then shoot them. Okay, it's not the kind of thing that happens outside of the fevered imaginations of very delusional activists.
Now, again, it's important to note, it's really sad that this guy's dead. It's really fucking sad that this dude is dead. However, standing on his corpse to push an agenda is bullshit.
It reads like a screenplay that was written by a queer NYU student who's, also happens to be high on meth or something. At no point should anyone have even pretended to take this statement seriously for any reason. It discredits itself. It makes no sense.
All right, valid. But let's see the police report. Let's look at some evidence, huh? Let's see some alternative perspectives. Maybe this actually does make sense, actually. Yeah, this is some Hollywood shit for real. Dude, the story of the fucking... Dude, I could see some Netflix adaptation of this in a few years, actually telling this story. No, and then he saw the skull in the mail, and he was like, oh, fuck, it's the homophobes.
We know that the man was killed, but there is no reason why we would take that statement at face value to explain how exactly he was killed and why. But a lot of people did present this statement as incoherent as it clearly is, as a serious, believable account by a first-hand witness. Not just believable, but according to LGBT activists, it's absolutely unassailable. It's bulletproof evidence that this is exactly what happened. And the media treated it that way too. In the UK, The Independent ran this headline, quote, King of the Hill actor Jonathan Joss was killed in a homophobic hate crime after years of threats, husband says.
Right? So the news article says, this guy was killed in a homophobic hate crime, husband says. Right? Like, that's the... Whenever they do, like, the husband says, like, and you see this every single time. It's like, every time you hear these stories, it's like, Hamas says this happened. And it's like, all right, dude. All right, dude. Sure. I'll take your word. I'll take their word at face value. I'll publish an article on their reputation. Absolutely. Right. For sure. Yes. Retarded stripper had something to tell you about the situation that happened in the nightclub. Yeah. All right, bro. Okay.
So they're leading with the statement from this alleged husband without pushing back in any way. Outlets like Variety and MSNBC did the same thing. So
everyone did this. I didn't do the research on this yet because I was like, all right, everyone's reporting on this. It probably is the case. The crazy thing is they're going to find out the truth. They're going to arrest the actual killer. They're going to find out that it has nothing to do with homophobia or whatever. And you know what? The news isn't going to talk about it at all. And the message from this story will be the giant homophobic hate crime that coincidentally happened on Pride Month, and that is why we'll need more Pride Months. All right, it's always that shit. No one cares about the truth. People care about the message, and it's disgusting.
But in some very popular accounts on social media, the account Discussing Film, which has more than 2 million followers, wrote, quote, Jonathan Joss, the voice of John Redcord in King of the Hill, has sadly passed away at the age of 59 after being shot in a homophobic attack. So they're not even qualifying it as husband says. They're just saying it was a homophobic attack.
That's what they're saying. It's Twitter. What are you going to do? What, do you think the fucking journalistic integrity of Discussing Film on Twitter? Are you fucking kidding me? People can say anything and get away with it. Dude, we just watched a whole compilation of the media saying that the protests in LA are not violent. We just saw a compilation of actual people in the media doing that.
Culture site TuneHive posted this report, which has more than 14 million views. Quote,
yikes, I didn't even see that one.
King of the Hill voice actor Jonathan Joss was murdered in a homophobic hate crime. His husband confirms.
What does that mean, his husband confirms? What does that even mean? Oh my God. His husband confirmed it. I saw it. I saw the homophobia in his eyes as he shot that fucking bigoted bullet into my husband. All right, bro.
Here's another post with 5 million views. Quote, they burned down his house, killed him and his husband's dog, showed them the dead dog's skulls, called them homophobic slurs, and then shot them.
All right, bro.
And there were thousands more posts like this all over the internet, from X to Reddit to Facebook.
All right, when are we going to figure out that the husband is the murderer and use this as an excuse to push an agenda? All right, when are we finding that? If we find that shit out, that would be the craziest twist of all time. I'm just saying, calling it here. If that happens, that would be fucking insane.
Facebook to Instagram and everywhere else. Here's another post with hundreds of thousands of views. Quote, this is why the LGBTQ plus movement is necessary.
There we go! And that's where that was the point. That was the point. That was the point of this whole thing.
This is why Pride Month is necessary. People shouldn't fear stepping outside to check their mail just for loving somebody of the same sex. If you think otherwise, go F yourself. So,
all right. So all of a sudden, this happened in the beginning. All right. The story, dude died. Very sad. The narrative being crafted immediately was homophobia. And people are using this narrative that is not based in reality to push an agenda. It's insane. Look at that shit. Anyway, lock in, boys and girl. It gets so much crazier.
The LGBT community.
Your death will be used for my soapbox, goddammit.
Is unanimous. This was a homophobic hate crime.
All right.
A gay man was executed in cold blood in broad daylight simply for being gay.
I even saw the bullet. The bullet had a little fucking swastika etched into it and everything. Yeah, it was literally, that's literally what had happened. It had the little quote from the Bible. It had like the verse of Leviticus written in like a little note that was tied around the bullet as it pierced through his husband. That's how it happened. I saw it himself. He quoted the Bible when he shot him.
But if you look a little more closely at this situation, as in if you spend like 5 seconds looking into it, you'll immediately find a few very fundamental problems with these claims. First of all, to begin with, here is a picture of Jonathan's alleged quote-unquote husband.
No, I didn't know this. I didn't know. No. Oh, God, there's no way this rabbit hole's gonna go this deep. This is a transgender fellow, right? Like, I don't want to like, be rude, but I don't want to be rude. Oh, no, dude, that's crazy. Bro, homophobic people won't have any problem with this at all. Because they'll be like, bro, you married a woman. No! Bro, I told you the twists and turns in this story were crazy. I sensed it. I felt it in the force.
And you can see it here. The quote-unquote husband is on the left. Now, admittedly, like Ketanji Brown Jackson, I'm no biologist. But that looks a lot like a woman who is claiming to be a man.
The plot twist!
And indeed, this particular woman has a trans flag on her Facebook profile.
Bro, no. Oh, fuck, man, that's crazy.
In other words,
the twist.
There's no husband involved here. And as much as we all recognize that definitions and facts aren't really important to the LGBT movement, it seems like a big issue for their narrative that this was a homophobic attack. And given that little detail, you might be wondering, well, who exactly is this woman? How credible is her story exactly?
Oh, shit.
Well, she married Joss just a few months ago on Valentine's Day of this year. They hadn't known each other very long before that. And now this woman is claiming to know that...
Wait, they didn't know each other for long? They got married on Valentine's of this year? Ain't no way, bro, this is the story. Holy shit.
For years, Joss has been tormented by neighbors who supposedly torched their home.
Right.
But
so immediately, how do you know that people were torched your home years ago when you just got married this year? And you didn't know each other for that long? Oh, no, dude.
The opposite is true. I mean, she's completely inverting reality. Here's a report from a local news station just a few months ago, shortly after the house fire. Quote, Joss said he left the house to go eat earlier on Thursday and thought he had turned everything off.
Okay.
He said he had been using a propane heater in the home for warmth.
Okay.
Mistakes happen, man, and it's my fault for, I guess, leaving something on, Joss said.
What?
Or if somebody came in and did something, who knows? Close.
There's no fucking way. The house burning down was fake too? Motherfucker burnt his own house down and they claimed it was a homophobic hate crime. This is not right. This is crazy. Wait. The plot thickens. Oh my God. The whole narrative was 2 years ago they burnt our house down after threatening us with homophobia. And it turns out he burnt down his own house. Bro is farming insurance, baby. That's crazy. I am like actually shocked. I am shocked how messy this story is, bro. That's crazy.
Close quote. Well, that's a helpful bit of context that was strangely missing from the post that Joss's alleged quote-unquote husband wrote on Facebook.
Right.
She suggests that homophobes burned the house down, but she leaves out the fact that Joss admitted that he'd been using a propane heater for warmth, and also admitted that he had probably made a mistake because he might have left it on.
Yeah, that's a lot of information that was left out. It turns out that dude burned down his own house, and then he got murdered, and then his spouse came out and was like, yo, the homophobes that killed him also burnt the house down 2 years ago. Oh! I know I shouldn't laugh. This dude is dead. It is sad. Okay, but like, this first of all, this is why you don't do drugs, okay? Second of all, and more importantly, the fucking media madness is fucking bullshit. It's always been bullshit.
And she also leaves out the fact that the local utility company had cut the power to the house and that it was slated for demolition later.
Stop. The house was slated for demolition and then suspiciously he burnt down his own house to farm insurance. Oh, no, dude.
In any event.
Oh, my God, dude. Dude, this video is going to get me in so much hot water. This is crazy.
Essentially, he's acknowledging that, yes, he burned his own house down. And that's not all the information that Joss's alleged husband left out. Watch.
This house was built by my dad in 1957 for my mom.
This was no role, but real-life heartbreak for actor Jonathan Joss when his family home on Dorsey Street burned down in January. On Sunday, neighbors say he was back on the now empty lot, checking on the Southside property when he got into a deadly confrontation. In the neighborhood, people say Joss made his presence known and not always in a good way.
We would see it.
Wait, so this dude was like a menace to the neighborhood? Didn't the freaking, spouse post be like this whole fucking, and everyone loved him except for the homophobes, they hated him. Dude was an actual menace to the community? Oh my God. He was 59 and his quote-unquote husband was 23 years old. No. Dog, this is levels of fucked. Bro, honestly, this is making people more homophobic, for real. Like, dude, people are gonna have less patience for bullshit when you hear this stuff, bro. This is actually insane. Actually fucking crazy. Like, for real. Like, these activists don't realize that they are literally torpedoing any movement that they're actually trying to push. Oh my God.
Him down the street, yelling, ranting and raving, sometimes walking up and down the street.
Neighbors say Joss took the whole private property concept very seriously. Even after his house had burned down, they say he fiercely protected not only what was behind this fence, but well beyond it.
And just different things. He'll argue with different people.
Maybe somebody would drive by his home. He didn't like people driving in front of his home.
He didn't like people driving in front of his home. Motherfucker, this guy was horrible. This guy was awful. Happy Men's Mental Health Month, ladies and gentlemen. This guy was terrible. Crack kills, for real, for real. Yeah, so actual retard that pissed everybody off. Yeah, maybe that's why people didn't like him. Maybe it had nothing to do with homophobia, right? Maybe it was actually because this dude was absolutely a degenerate, drug-addicted, perverted fuck.
One neighbor says she saw similar behavior from Josh Sunday, although it's still unclear exactly how that led to him being shot.
So according to the neighbors,
Wow.
Josh
Oh,
would
Lord.
scream at passing cars. He would regularly harass innocent people in the community. He would act, in other words, a lot like an unstable drug addict. with health issues.
True.
Right? That's how he would act. And
Right, everyone says this, all right? And don't worry. Everyone published the quote-unquote husband's story. That was posted everywhere. Everyone posted that shit. No one decided to post the idea that this dude was an actual menace to the entire neighborhood. Holy shit, this is a giant fraud. It's a giant scheme.
That's just the beginning. Here's a report from the local station WFAA, which has more details from the day that Josh died. Quote, neighbors said that Josh was at the site Sunday night checking his mail,
Right.
which he did regularly,
Right.
when something went terribly wrong. A video shared by a neighbor who was present shows a man, who they identified as Josh, pacing up and down the street with a pitchfork and screaming.
Yeah, if you hated this guy, you're probably homophobic. Wow, all these homophobes, they didn't like the gay guy screaming, running up and down in the middle of the night with a pitchfork. All the homophobes, we're losing it for that one. Damn, we need more Pride Months. We need more Pride Months for real. To celebrate this. What is happening? The twists and turns of this is fucking killing me. There's no way it gets worse.
The neighbors say that it was...
Yeah, we were missing critical information, and they really took to the streets. They really took to the streets with that story. They were trying so hard, bro. Homophobia, 3 years, burnt this house down, skulls in the mail. Oh, my Lord. AI would never come up with this.
It's common behavior over the years for Josh to scream while carrying weapons. And even though they say they didn't like it, several neighbors said they were surprised when a man who lives just 50 yards away responded to the situation with a gun around 6 p.m. on Sunday, close quote. Now, before I read the rest of this paragraph, it's worth repeating this line. The neighbors say it was common behavior over the years for us to scream while carrying weapons.
Dude, I'm fucking dying. I'm dying. This is the greatest story of all time. Fuck.
And on the night he was killed, Josh was pacing up and down with a pitchfork and screaming. Again, none of this made it into the husband's quote-unquote account of events.
Yeah, no.
Instead, we're supposed to believe that Josh was just minding his own business, checking the mail, when somebody shot him for no reason other than the fact that he's gay, even though he's in a relationship with a woman.
Yeah, no, this is a wild level of delusion, and everyone's pushing this just for their agenda. I'm telling you, this agenda-pushing, reality-warping bullshit needs to stop. I'm so happy that we have social media where people could actually talk and discuss things properly. Like, the amount of fake news is literally everywhere now. Everyone believes in fake shit all the time just because it's what you see on social media. But also, we can actually look into things and realize that this shit's 100% fabricated. This shit's BS. Holy.
Now, that sounds a little hard to believe. It gets even worse. Let's continue reading from the quote. Many neighbors said that Josh and Alvarez...
Many neighbors? Oh, no.
...had a long history of trouble. They say both men had been showing weapons and trading threats for years. The feud took many forms. Weapons, everything, guns, shootings at all times of night.
There were guns and shooting at all times of night. Oh, my God.
One neighbor said, adding the men didn't shoot at each other. No, just shooting rounds at their own property and stuff. You could just hear the multiple rounds just blowing off on both ends, and he would be yelling a lot, close quote.
Bro, dude, whoever executed this guy was not a fucking homophobe, okay?
So there was just some casual gunfire on both sides of the dispute. It was a regular thing, apparently. And it was a conflict that Josh was obviously participating in actively. According to various news reports, police had been called to the residence more than 60 times so far this year alone for a variety of reasons.
No!
According to various news reports, police had been called to the residence more than 60 times.
So police were called to this house 60 times. 60 times! They're still trying to push this as a tragic couple that didn't mind their own business and were executed because they were gay? What? Oh my fucking God.
So far this year alone for...
This year alone! This year alone! Bro! We're halfway through the year. They came 10 times a month? Bro, dude, do they not realize this shit is not... Dude, can you imagine being a gay guy? You wake up in the morning, you want to have rights, and you open the paper and you see this story. Oh my God, I can't believe this is real life.
A variety of reasons.
Dude, it's the agenda. Killed another jackass and used his corpse to push shit. Yep, for real, for real.
From welfare checks to reports of shootings and fires, the callers reported that Joss had been carrying crossbows and pointing them at people.
What the fuck? You know, this murder might have really been self-defense. If you have this fucking unhinged asshole high on drugs that burnt their own house down and is literally walking around with pitchforks, pointing crossbows at you, I don't know. I think killing him might be self-defense. Oh my God. Bro thought he was gay Witcher.
Which led police to confiscate the weapon last summer.
Oh, that's nice.
Also, it's emerged that neither Joss nor his alleged quote-unquote husband actually owned the home that burned down. In fact, the property was slated for demolition before it mysteriously burned down. Quoting from Fox San Antonio, quote, city officials saying that the home Joss and his quote-unquote husband had lived in was slated for demolition well before the fire in January of 2025. According records from the city of San Antonio's dangerous assessment response team indicated that neither Joss nor his husband owned the property. According to city officials, after several reports of theft and mental health concerns, the DART team got involved. After inspecting the property, the building was brought before the Building Standards Board, which ordered it demolished. DART then gave the couple a notice to vacate. The homeowner consented to the demolition of the home, and services were disconnected from the property in October of 2024.
Nice.
Officials say the home then sat on a list of homes to be demolished before a fire on January 23rd destroyed most of the structure, killing at least one dog in the blaze, close quote.
So this guy, not only did he probably light his house on fire, but he also murdered one of his dogs in the inferno. Bro, fuck. I don't know, man. I'm like actually shaking. They tried to make this guy a martyr for the LGBT movement, all right? They made this guy Pride Month martyr. You have no idea. Holy shit.
So the home was going to be demolished because of the state that it was in. And then after that, mysteriously, it burns down.
Right. Weird.
These are not facts that suggest that Joss and his quote-unquote husband were living the most stable life or that they were being tormented by random, mysterious homophobes.
No.
It looks a lot like they
were the homophobic vagrants wandering around.
Were very unstable people. You can't put a price on truth, but you can put
could put a price on skipping your ad. That I could do. Oh, yeah.
Over free fight, gunfight, Joss. Quote, I lived across this man for years. He started gunfights constantly.
Oh my God, dude. Every story gets worse than the last.
And he burnt his own house down trying to make a meth lab inside.
Whoa! Crazy allegation. Crazy allegation. Bro, they were really... Dude, it's crazy. Every time I see it, it's like, dude, I don't know. Like, fuck, man. That's... Hey, yo, Mr. White. I'm burning my house down, Mr. White. I'm, like, actually shocked. Bro, what is even happening? The meth was homophobic and burnt his house down. Bro, I'm telling you, man, the left needs better heroes. Bro, their heroes are fucking Jonathan Just, complete fucking retard, walking around with crossbows, and George Floyd, drug addict criminal. Like, it is crazy. It is crazy to think about this, bro. Holy.
He constantly threatened his surrounding neighbors.
It's either a meth lab or insurance fraud. Whatever it is, he murdered his own dog.
And played victim when cops came. He used to throw bricks through my window and tore several of our mailboxes.
Bro, what? He threw bricks through other people's windows? Fuck, man. What is happening? Bro, Maryland Man. Oh, yeah, true. I forgot. He's the most recent hero on the left. The legendary Maryland Man, known for beating his wife and trafficking people and being part of the MS-13 terrorist organization. Yeah, true. I forgot. The other hero on the left. And Luigi Mangione, the fucking guy who murdered a dude in cold blood. Holy shit, what is happening?
Down, and no one on that block ever yelled homophobic slurs at him. It's a lie from his, quote, husband for sympathy.
Bro, even the neighbors put husband in quotes. That's crazy. Holy shit. Oh, Lord. Oh, that's fucking brutal. I mean, I would have called them homophobic slurs, to be honest. Like, a lot of people think that saying homophobic slurs is, like, a very not nice thing to do. But in my defense, if he was pointing a crossbow at me and, like, throwing bricks through my windows, I'd fucking unleash hell. Slur hell would fall upon him. And it would all be based.
Close quote. Now, these multiple independent accounts are believable in part because of Joss's public behavior. In fact, just two days before his death, Joss crashed an event for the King of the Hill revival at the Paramount.
How is this guy your hero? How is this guy your hero? Oh, you've got to be fucking kidding me. I'm losing my shit. This is your hero? This dude is going to make Pride Month great again? Oh, my freaking God, bro.
Theater in Austin, and he had to be escorted out by security. According to People magazine, quote, while the panel was in full swing, Joss stood up and approached the microphone, set up for the Q&A portion of the event, which had not begun yet. The onlooker says that security guards came out at this time. The eyewitnesses says that audience members laughed nervously in the crowd, and that King of Hill co-creators Mike Judge and Greg Daniels.
Wait, so he wasn't invited to an event about his own show?
Didn't seem alarmed, while others appeared a bit worried or
because he's obviously unhinged.
Uncomfortable. So here's part of that footage of what took place. It was shot by an attendee using the name Brandon Brokenheart on Facebook. Watch.
All right.
But he said the mic wasn't going to be used. And I'm an actor. I see a mic, I use it. I see it wrong, I make it right. I take a breath, I want to breathe. And no offense, sir, I'm not a super fan. I said there's a hole in where my money should go. There's a hole. There's a hole. My house burned down 3 months ago because I'm gay.
My house burned down 3 months ago because I'm gay. Yeah, bro was on something.
I've had a couple loves in my life.
What? Yeah.
So he's obviously falling apart personally and professionally. He thought these people snubbed him by not inviting him onto the stage.
Yikes.
Although you can kind of see why they didn't want him on stage.
Yeah.
So he interrupts them while they're speaking. He shuts the whole event down. He veers between a joking demeanor and, being dead serious as he rants incoherently about 10 different topics. For example, he says that his house was burned down because he's gay, which is completely different from what he said a few weeks ago when he acknowledged that he may have caused the fire himself. And meanwhile, everybody in the room is, nervously hoping that he's not going to become violent because he's acting like a schizophrenic. 2 days later, what do you know? The neighbors say that he was acting like a drug addict, screaming at random people while carrying a pitchfork. And to be clear, I don't know exactly why he was shot. No one does at this point. We can't say whether Joss was.
All right, I'm betting it's the spouse. I'm betting it's the spouse. $10 on the spouse. Obviously, do not. I'm not making any allegations here, but I'm just saying. A poetic bow on this whole story. The spouse kills him, and it actually is because he's gay. So that they can fucking push an agenda and shit and inherit whatever's left over. I don't know, man. This is a crazy story.
Threatening anyone or whether the shooting was justified or not at this point. But the balance of the evidence overwhelmingly suggests that he was not minding his own business and checking the mail when, out of nowhere, he was executed for being in a gay relationship, as the media and LGBT activists are claiming. There are about 1 million reasons why that claim is not convincing, starting with the fact that he wasn't even in a gay relationship, as well as the fact that he's repeatedly acted like a lunatic in public, and the fact that the source is a trans-identifying woman with every incentive to play the victim. And indeed, San Antonio...
Bro, the source is an activist. The source is an activist with everything to gain by going... dude, you are not ready for the media tours that were going to be built on the fucking... shit that was happening. The media tours.
Police who have access to all the available evidence have come to the same conclusion. Here's what they wrote, quote,
"Oh, let's go, police. San Antonio Police Department.
SAPD Homicide is currently investigating the murder of Mr. Jonathan Joss. Despite online claims of this being a hate crime, currently the investigation has found no evidence to indicate that Mr. Joss's murder was related to his sexual orientation."
This has 630,000 views. The post saying that it was a homophobic execution has 16 million views. Someone's profiting off this shit.
The investigation has found no evidence to indicate that Mr. Joss's murder was related to his sexual orientation.
Yeah, also, Mr. Joss was so high, he didn't even realize that his husband had a vagina.
Because reality doesn't matter to these people, this statement hasn't convinced LGBT activists to stop claiming that Jonathan Joss was executed for being gay, nor have any of the other facts I just outlined. They still won't admit that Matthew Shepard was killed 30 years ago because of a meth deal gone bad, not because he was gay. In fact, one of Shepard's killers was a man that he'd allegedly occasionally had sex with himself, meaning that one of the killers was gay. Every single one of these hate crime hoaxes going back 30 years, and every single one of these hate crime claims going back 30 years has been a fraud.
It is crazy.
This is just the latest example of a trend that we've all seen for decades now.
Holy shit.
If anything's changing, it's that the hoaxes are becoming far more incoherent and lazy and unconvincing. And I
mean, to be honest, Jussie Smollett's was pretty retarded too. What, two random white guys walk up to him, it's MAGA country, put a noose around his neck and beat the shit out of him? Like, come on, dude. What, are you serious?
See lies that are this transparent and desperate from people who are losing and who know they're losing. Desperate to find some justification for Pride Month and the LGBT movement in general, these pathological liars are deliberately attempting to exploit the very predictable and tragic death of an unstable guy, all under the guise of compassion and social justice. It's a fraud. And that's no surprise because their entire movement is a fraud. And the more they pretend otherwise, the more they pretend to care about Jonathan Joss, and the more they pretend to be terrified of phantom homo.
Dude, this is like, it's crazy. Actual misplaced empathy. Completely and utterly misplaced empathy. Holy shit.
Homophobic gangs that randomly...
It's like the empathy is for the complete fucking retard vagrants screaming at people with pitchforks.
Stalk and torment gay men in San Antonio, the more obvious it is how truly powerless and pathetic these people have become.
Damn.
If you'd like to see what else I have...
No, he absolutely cooked. He absolutely freaking cooked. I'm not even gonna lie. His cookage was incredible. Unbelievable levels of compassion being shown here. Look at how much, compassion happened. Yeah, bro's husband had a vagina. Bro was not a peaceful fellow. He was burning down his own house, not because he's gay, but because he's retarded. And also, this is actually fucking crazy. Like, this story is wild. So, I want to remind you guys, you don't hate the media enough. This is one tweet with 16 million views, starting a hate crime hoax about how a homophobic attack killed the very beloved and mentally stable Jonathan Joss, who was anything but that. This was not a homophobic attack. It was absolutely not a homophobic attack. And they're using his death, this retard's death, a tragic death of a retard. He could be retarded and the death could be sad. The tragic retard death, they're using it to push an agenda, make Pride Month too. Every month will be Pride Month from now on until the end of time. And for real, it could have been self-defense for all you know. They locked down comments. Interesting. But when it comes to someone executing two Jewish people in a Jewish museum saying free Palestine, you get these fucking bullshit people on the left making hour-long soliloquies figuring out the motive and concluding that it has nothing to do with anti-Semitism. You have actual people burning down Los Angeles. Los Angeles is burning. It is on fire. And the media's just gonna sit there and be like, it's mostly peaceful. Guys, it's mostly peaceful shit. Don't worry, guys. Don't worry. It's mostly peace. There's no fire. There's no fire, guys. Thank you for being here. I hope you enjoyed. I'm gonna get canceled for being a homophobe, but my response to that is, I don't fucking care about your opinions. Stop being gay. No, I'm kidding. That was a joke. Like, subscribe, and this video was streamed live on kick.com/Nuxanor. See you there. Stay weird, fam.